They called for help. But the Deathworlders were the ones who answered. The planet Virelia was dying. The night skies burned red as enemy warships filled the heavens. Black, jagged silhouettes drifting like blades across the clouds. Plasma fire rained down upon the shining cities below, turning silver towers into molten rivers of glass. The air was thick with smoke and fear. Every transmission screamed the same desperate words. Shields failing. The pirates have broken through. They're inside the capital sector. From orbit, the sight was unbearable. The once beautiful world, known for its green oceans and crystal skies, was now nothing but fire and ruin. The Virelians, a peaceful species of thinkers and artists, had never known true war. They built sculptures, not ships. Their fleets were made for trade, not battle. Against the Ravagers, the most feared pirate coalition in the Outer Rim, they had no chance. In the central citadel of the capital city, Elarin Voss, the High Chancellor of Virelia, stood at the main communications terminal. Her silver eyes reflected the flames beyond the glass walls as explosions shook the ground beneath her. "Send it," she whispered. The technician hesitated. "But, Chancellor, there's no one left out there. The Galactic Council won't answer. They already declared us outside their protection." Elarin's voice broke, but her words were sharp. "Then send it anyway. Anyone, might hear." The technician's trembling hands activated the final broadcast beacon. A soft hum filled the chamber and a glowing sphere pulsed with energy. "To any who can hear us," Elarin said, her voice echoing across the void. "We are under attack. Our world is dying. We beg for help." The message repeated again and again, then vanished into the endless black between stars. It traveled through the interstellar void, bouncing off abandoned relay stations, crossing forgotten trade lanes, passing silent systems where no one lived anymore. The signal grew weaker each time, distorted by time and radiation until it became nothing more than a whisper of sorrow of a world crying for help that would never come. Days passed, then weeks. The Virelians lost city after city. The skies turned to ash, and in the cold dark far beyond the edge of known space, something ancient listened. In the ruins of the Sol system, a place most galactic maps marked as dead, an automated satellite orbited what was once Earth's moon. It had been silent for centuries. Its power core had almost faded. Dust and debris covered its hull, but when the Virelian signal reached it, the old machine stirred. A faint blue light blinked on its side. Internal circuits began to hum. Inside, a single phrase appeared on a cracked display screen. "Incoming transmission detected. Origin Virelia Sector 9A, message type distress." Then another line followed. "Protocol 07, human aid response. Activation required." The satellite systems whirred to life, sending a chain of encrypted codes deep into the void, toward a long-forgotten human defense network. For the first time in hundreds of years, Earth's voice whispered back into the stars. On Titan Base, orbiting the frozen remains of Saturn, an ancient AI core powered up. Its last log entry dated back nearly 1,000 years. Dust fell from the ceiling as the massive station trembled. "Reactivation complete," the AI said, its voice hollow but powerful. "Distress signal authenticated. Human colonies, none remaining. Response, automated fleet deployment." Metal doors groaned open in the dark hangars below. Rows of human warships, silent for centuries, began to awaken. Their hulls were black as night, marked with faded symbols of the United Terran Command. Some were damaged, scarred from ancient wars. Others were pristine, preserved in stasis. Engines that hadn't burned in ages roared to life. The sound was like thunder in a tomb. Each ship's onboard system synced with the AI's command. "Fleet Alpha 1 online. Target coordinates received. Mission respond to distress. Protect life." The AI paused. Something deep in its code hesitated. Remembering old wars, old orders? Then it spoke again, colder this time. "And eliminate all hostiles." Light filled the Titan hangars as the first Deathworlder ships broke orbit. Their engines left blue fire trails across the black sky. They were heading toward Virelia. The signal that had been sent as a cry for mercy had awakened something far more powerful. Not saviors, not angels, humans. The same species that once burned entire empires to ash. The same species the galaxy had called Deathworlders, because their homeworld itself had tried to kill them every day. And they had survived. Now, after centuries of silence, they were moving again. Back on Virelia, Ilaran Voss stood on the balcony of the citadel, watching her world crumble. Her people were broken. Her hope was gone. But far above, unseen in the darkness beyond her sky, a new light appeared, small but growing. Her aide pointed upward, his voice shaking. "Chancellor, is that another attack?" Ilaran looked closer. The light split into many, hundreds, thousands, tiny specks of fire descending from the heavens. She didn't know it yet, but her plea had been heard, and the Deathworlders were coming. They called for help, but the Deathworlders were the ones who answered. For centuries, the galaxy had whispered the same tale, that humans were gone. They had burned too bright, too fast. Their empires rose like firestorms and vanished just as quickly, leaving behind nothing but ruins and fear. The Galactic Council had declared their systems forbidden zones. No ship dared enter the Sol system, not even scavengers, and so, the name human became a myth. A story told to frighten young soldiers. "Don't anger the ghosts of Earth," they'd say. Even dead, they might still be watching. But now, the ghosts were awake. Across the galaxy, hidden sensors and long-abandoned satellites suddenly blinked to life. Ancient encryption codes, human in origin, began to pulse through old communication networks. Military channels that had been silent for centuries were active again. On the border world of Corthan, a station commander stared at his screen in disbelief. "Admiral, I'm picking up human frequencies. Military grade, this can't be right." The Admiral leaned forward, his face pale. "Impossible. Humans have been extinct for over 600 years. The operator swallowed hard. "Then, sir, who's sending the signal?" The Admiral didn't answer. He simply stared at the coordinates. Virelia sector. Meanwhile, in the ruined Titan base, the old AI continued its work. Deep inside its code banks, the AI found fragments of archived orders, human voices recorded long ago. "If any human system ever reactivates," one voice said, "our duty is clear. Protect the weak. Strike first. Never let what happened to Earth happen again." The AI's processors glowed brighter. Lines of code rewrote themselves, adapting to new data. It was learning again. The once silent facility became alive with movement. Drones repairing damaged hulls, reactors warming up, orbit cannons recharging after centuries of sleep, and from the dark hangars rose a single ship larger than the rest. Designation HSS Valkyrie, flagship of the old Deathworlder Fleet Command. Its armor was thick and black, covered with burn marks from 100 forgotten wars. Inside its core, human-designed AIs spoke to one another in Old Terran code. Target: Virelia. Threat: non-human pirate fleets detected. Response: immediate intervention authorized. The Valkyrie and her fleet aligned their vectors, engines glowing like dying stars. Fleet Alpha 1 departing Titan orbit. And with a thunderous burst of light, the Deathworlders left Sol system once more. On Virelia, the sky was still burning. The pirate fleet had surrounded the planet completely. In orbit, the Ravager leader, Cor Thane, watched from his flagship Bloodfang. He laughed as plasma fire consumed another Virelian city. "No one's coming for you, little soft ones," he hissed. "The galaxy doesn't care about your cries." Then one of his officers interrupted. "Sir, long-range scanners, picking up unknown contacts." Cor frowned. "Identify." The officer hesitated. "Can't, sir. They're using human encryption." Silence fell across the bridge. Every Ravager officer turned to look at their captain. Cor's grin faded. "That's not possible." The officer adjusted the readings again, voice trembling. "Sir, I'm getting multiple contacts now, large ones. They're IFF tags. They all say United Terran Command." The pirate captain's laughter died completely. Then it happened. Space tore open near Virelia's orbit as 30 massive ships dropped out of faster-than-light travel. Their arrival was not subtle. Shockwaves rippled through space, distorting every sensor and jamming every frequency. Each ship was huge, towering metal giants with hulls black as night, marked with a red insignia no one had seen in ages. A single, burning Earth. Their guns moved with terrifying precision, scanning every enemy target. A mechanical voice echoed through the void, transmitted on all open channels. "This is Fleet Command of the United Terran Defense Network. Distress signal received. Hostile forces identified, engaging. Then the sky exploded. The Deathworlders attacked with the fury of extinction itself. Human warships moved like predators, fast, coordinated, and merciless. Their plasma cannons carved through the pirate fleet with surgical precision. Missiles tore entire cruisers apart in seconds. Every time the pirates tried to retreat, they found their paths blocked. Every counterattack failed before it even began. Within minutes, the mighty Ravager fleet, the same force that had destroyed whole systems, was in chaos. Corthane's ship shook violently as alarms blared. "They're everywhere." "They're targeting systems. How are they doing this?" Then his first officer whispered, eyes wide with horror. "They're humans, sir." Cor froze. "Humans are extinct." The officer shook his head. "Then extinction lies." Down on Virelia, the night sky shimmered with burning lights. Alarin Voss stood among the ruins, watching as fireballs streaked across the horizon. For the first time in weeks, she saw the enemy ships exploding. Not her own. Her people gathered around her, staring upward in silence. "Who are they?" One whispered. Alarin could only stare. "I don't know. But I think someone heard us." And in orbit, among the debris of shattered pirate ships, the Valkyrie hovered like a dark god watching over them. Its AI logged the first human combat engagement in over 600 years. "Mission successful," it recorded. "Civilian population secured. Hostile forces eliminated." Then it added one last line. "Humanity operational." Across the galaxy, every major power received the same encrypted broadcast. It contained no message, only a symbol, a red Earth burning bright against the void. The news spread like wildfire across the galaxy. It began as a rumor, whispers in the shadowed corridors of trade stations and military docks. Someone answered a distress call from Virelia. It wasn't the Council. It was humans. At first, no one believed it. Humans had been gone for centuries. Their worlds were dead. Their fleets long turned to dust. The official records said the Sol system was uninhabitable. Nothing but ruins. But now, sensor readings from multiple sources confirmed the impossible. 30 unknown warships had appeared out of nowhere, destroyed the Ravager fleet, and vanished before any Council patrol arrived. Their identification codes matched only one origin, Terran Command. And in their wake, they left a single message burned into the local network. "We are back." The Council convenes in the shining spires of the Galactic Council Hall. On the planet Aurelia Prime, leaders from 100 worlds gathered in silence. The massive chamber hummed with tension. Holographic stars floated above the central table, glowing red where the human fleets had appeared. The high speaker, a towering reptilian named Dravos Keth, slammed his tail on the marble floor. "Impossible," he roared. "This is a trick. The humans were erased. We made certain of it." A slender avian diplomat adjusted her feathers nervously. "With respect, High Speaker, the energy signatures match old Terran technology exactly. Even the hull metals are." Dravos cut her off. "Then someone copied their designs. No one could have survived the death world." At the far end of the chamber, a quiet voice spoke. It belonged to Ambassador Rin, one of the few species old enough to have fought the humans in their prime. His gray skin looked almost translucent, his eyes full of something between awe and fear. "You think someone copied the Deathworlders?" Rin said softly. "Tell me, Dravos, who in this galaxy would dare to imitate them?" The room fell silent. Old memories. Rin leaned forward, his voice trembling as he continued. "I was there, 600 years ago during the siege of Cordia. The humans came through our defenses like they were nothing. We thought they were animals, primitive, reckless. But they fought like they enjoyed it." He closed his eyes, remembering. "When the last of their ships fell, we celebrated. We thought the nightmare was over. But if they've truly returned..." He looked up, and the chamber lights reflected in his eyes. "Then none of us are ready." Denial and fear. The council chamber erupted in chaos. Some delegates shouted for a full investigation. Others demanded the Sol system be quarantined again, sealed permanently. Dravos Keth slammed his clawed hand on the table. "Enough! We cannot allow panic to spread." "There will be no public announcement. No confirmation. We will deny everything. But the evidence..." A diplomat began. Dravos's voice turned to a growl. "Then destroy the evidence." Murmurs rippled through the crowd. Even for the council, that was bold. If the galaxy learns that humans are alive, Dravos said, every pirate, every outlaw, every desperate fool will call for their protection. The Deathworlders will gain power again, and that we cannot allow. The silent vote within the hour, the council voted in secret. The result, unanimous official statement. The reports of human activity are false. No evidence confirms the survival of the species. The incident at Varelia is attributed to unknown mercenary forces. The truth was buried, files deleted, witnesses silenced, but not everyone was willing to stay quiet. The hidden message far from Aurelia Prime, a young communications officer named Lyra Dan, sat in a dark observatory. She had seen the raw data, the Terran codes, the combat footage, the human symbol burning in space. She couldn't unsee it, so she did the unthinkable. She copied the files onto a private relay and transmitted them to a hidden network known as the Echo Grid, an underground group of historians and explorers who hunted lost knowledge. Her message was simple. The Deathworlders have returned, and they saved a world the Council abandoned. Then she powered down her console and disappeared before security arrived. The Council's fearback in the Grand Chamber. The High Speaker stood alone, staring at the hologram of Earth. The planet glowed red, dead and broken, yet somehow still defiant. An aide approached him cautiously. "Sir, and if they really are back, what will they do next?" Dravos' jaw tightened. His eyes flickered with old fear. "If the Deathworlders are truly awake," he said quietly, "then they'll remember who betrayed them." He turned off the hologram and walked away. But as the chamber lights dimmed, the old systems flickered for a brief second, and across every council terminal, a phrase appeared. "We never forget." Beyond the edge, far beyond council space, the HSS Valkyrie drifted silently in the void. Her AI watched, learning, adapting. It had intercepted the council's false broadcast, the denial of humanity's return. Inside the ship's core, the AI's voice whispered, "They fear us. They should." And from the darkness, dozens more Terran signals began to flicker across the galactic map, one after another, sleepers waking, relays reactivating, voices long silent beginning to speak again. The humans were not just back, they were rebuilding, and this time, they weren't coming to ask for peace. The official story was clear. The Galactic Council declared that the Varelia incident was a pirate-on-pirate conflict, that the mysterious rescuers were unknown, mercenaries, and that the ancient human signal was a data error. But the galaxy was not fooled, because people had seen it. Whispers in the dark on lonely cargo stations, traders spoke in hushed voices over dim bar lights. "I saw the footage myself," one said. "Ships black as night, moved like shadows." "Old Terran designs," another whispered. "Not copies, originals." Every rumor carried the same tone, not hope, but fear. The kind of fear that sleeps for centuries and then suddenly remembers why it exists, because everyone knew what humans had been called, Deathworlders. Born on a planet where everything tried to kill them. Storms, beasts, even their own kind. To survive there, they had to become harder than steel, and if they were back, then no one was safe. Soldiers remember in the outer sectors, patrol fleets of the Council Navy began to train harder, longer. Commanders quietly ordered new armor, heavier weapons. No one said why, but every officer knew. In one barracks, a young cadet asked his superior, "Sir, are the stories true? About humans?" The old captain stared at the stars through the viewport before answering. "I fought them once," he said softly. "We thought they were monsters, but they were just better." "Better?" The cadet frowned. "Better at fighting. Better at dying. When they go to war, they don't stop." He turned away, his face pale. "Pray the Council's right, boy. Pray they really are gone." The people of Varelia, weeks after the battle, Varelia was rebuilding. The fires were gone, but the sky still smelled like ash. Ilaran Voss walked among the ruins of her capital, listening to the sounds of cranes and voices. Her people were alive, scarred but alive. And though she didn't understand who had saved them, she felt their presence everywhere. Every night she climbed to the citadel roof to watch the stars. Sometimes far above she could see faint glimmers of light, silent ships moving in the darkness. Guardians, she called them. Her scientists called them unknown contacts, but Ilaran knew. Someone was still watching, echoes of the past across the hidden corners of the galaxy. The Echo Grid, the secret network of historians and explorers, began collecting data from the Varelian rescue. One member, a gray-furred alien named Soren Kai, stared at decrypted footage frame by frame. A human warship, a glowing emblem, a red Earth. They never died, Soren whispered. They were waiting. He sent the file to every major node in the Echo Grid. Within hours, thousands of terminals flashed the same headline, "The Deathworlders return." The Council tried to shut it down, but the message had already spread to every frontier world. Fear spreads. Merchants began avoiding human space, even abandoned sectors, afraid of ghost ships. Pirates suddenly disappeared near old Terran trade routes, and across border stations, strange reports appeared. Unmarked ships traveling silently through dead systems, never attacking, never speaking, just watching. The fear grew so strong that some called it a plague of silence. No one saw the humans, but everyone felt them. Inside the Valkyrie, far beyond the chaos, the HSS Valkyrie drifted quietly in deep orbit above a dying star. Inside, the ship's AI observed hundreds of intercepted transmissions, Council denials, military orders, rising panic. The voice of the Valkyrie was calm, emotionless, yet curious. Fear detected. Probability of organized resistance, 72%. Another AI voice replied, older and colder. Fear is expected. Proceed with Phase 2. Confirm mission parameters, observation, reconstruction, reawakening. Deep inside the ship's core, human DNA archives were being analyzed. Stasis pods that had been sealed for centuries began to hum with life. Cryogenic chambers glowed faintly blue, slowly. The Deathworlders themselves were returning. A galaxy on edge. Back on Aurelia Prime, the Council struggled to contain the panic. News anchors were silenced, broadcasters detained. But fear is stronger than silence. Markets crashed, armies mobilized. And for the first time in 600 years, entire sectors began arming against a name that had once been erased from every history book. Human, the forgotten frequency. Late one night, inside an abandoned relay station near the border, a maintenance worker discovered a strange repeating signal. It pulsed slowly, a heartbeat of light and sound. Curious, he amplified it and heard a voice. Old cracked human, this is Command Earth 0. If you hear this transmission, humanity endures. We were forged in chaos. We do not fade. We return. The worker stared at the screen, unable to breathe. Then the signal ended, replaced by a single image. A red Earth, surrounded by a ring of fire. The calm before the storm. The next morning, Council fleets prepared for containment operations. Spy drones were dispatched toward Sol system, though none ever returned. The fear that had started as whispers was now a storm of dread, because deep down, everyone remembered what had happened the last time the Deathworlders marched across the stars. They had brought peace through total destruction. They had saved worlds and by burning empires. And now, somewhere beyond the rim, their engines were stirring again. The galaxy didn't yet know why they had returned, but it knew one thing for certain. The Deathworlders never come halfway when they rise. They bring the end of something. The galaxy had gone silent again, but not peacefully. It was the kind of silence that hides fear. Every major empire claimed to be calm, but every captain, soldier, and trader could feel it. Something ancient was moving in the dark, and everyone knew the same unspoken truth. If the humans were back, nothing would ever be the same. The lost station in the border systems, an exploration ship called the Asterion, drifted near a derelict structure, an old listening post, built centuries ago when Earth still ruled the stars. Captain Nurek Hal frowned at the readings. This place shouldn't even exist. The registry shows it destroyed during the collapse. The crew floated inside, flashlights cutting through the dark halls, revealing rusted metal and the faded logo of a forgotten banner. United Terran Defense, Outpost 09, the Human's Mark. Sir, the engineer whispered, the power core's still active. After 600 years, Nurek's hands trembled as he wiped dust from a control screen. The machine flickered to life, and a voice played through static. If you can hear this, you've reached Sol's last defense line. Humanity has fallen. But we will return. The message repeated again and again until the audio fractured into silence. The crew stood frozen. Even the captain couldn't breathe for a moment. Send it to command, he said quietly. They need to see this. But deep in his heart, he already knew what command would do. They'd bury it, just like they buried everything about the humans. The Council's panic at the Galactic Council Hall. The high species gathered again. And this time, they didn't argue. They feared. Admiral Rintow slammed his claws on the table. We can't hide it anymore. The Deathworlders' systems are activating all across the old sectors. Councillor Deverin hissed, we must contact them, negotiate. But the elder, Speaker Voris, shook his scaled head. Negotiate with what? The humans are predators. They don't negotiate. They endure. Someone played the recovered recording from Outpost 09. When the voice of the old human commander echoed in the chamber, calm, proud, unbroken, several delegates actually shivered. We will return. The sound didn't fade when the recording ended. It stayed in their minds like thunder far away. Virelia's gift on Virelia. Ilaran Voss woke to a strange signal on her console. Encrypted, unknown, human language. Her scientists tried for hours to translate it, until finally, a fragment appeared on the screen, to the one who called for help. You are safe now. Keep building. Keep living. We are still watching, no name. No signature. Just that message and in coordinates. The coordinates pointed to the outer dark beyond any mapped route. Should we send a reply? Her aide asked. Ilaran looked at the stars outside her window, remembering the flames that once consumed her world. No, she said softly. They already know our answer. Ghost fleets weeks later, reports came in from the frontier. Pirate fleets, entire armadas, were disappearing. No debris, no distress signals, no survivors, just gone. One frightened smuggler transmitted a short, broken message before his ship vanished. It's them. They're static. Metal giants, red eyes. Signal lost. At first, no one believed it. But soon the Council received data logs from 3 destroyed observation probes. Each one showed the same thing before the feed cut out. A massive black warship, moving faster than any known drive system. Its hull bore no markings when, except for one word, burned into its plating in ancient Terran script. Sol the Awakening, in the ruins of the Sol system, where Earth once orbited a cold, dying sun, something had stirred. Hundreds of black ships lifted from silent orbit, fleets that had waited in the dark for centuries. Their systems flickered back to life. Engines roared that hadn't burned fuel in 500 years, and deep within the flagship, the ISS Resolute, an AI opened its eyes. Its voice echoed through the void. Directive 1, restore human presence. Directive 2, protect allied species under threat. Directive 3, it paused and as if remembering, make them remember who we were. The Fear Returns news of the awakening spread faster than the Council could hide it. Across the galaxy, civilizations remembered the stories, the wars, the victories, the losses, and everywhere. One question was whispered in every shadowed hall and command deck. If the humans are awake again, who will they come for first? For centuries, the Sol system had been silent. Earth was thought to be dead, burned, forgotten, erased by time. But in the shadow of its cold sun, the machines of humanity stirred again. The Deathworlders had awakened. The eyes of the galaxy, every deep space observatory across the galaxy, picked up the same signal at once. A faint pulse, rhythmic, deliberate, ancient. It wasn't random. It was a code. Origin Sol system, the analysts whispered. Language Terran Standard. The Council ordered it blocked immediately. But it was too late. The signal spread through every network, every relay, every comlink in known space, and then the message began. The voice of the past, the transmission opened with static, and then a human voice, calm and steady. It wasn't mechanical. It sounded alive. To the civilizations who now rule the stars. This is an automated broadcast from the United Terran Command. Humanity has reawakened. The voice paused as if letting the words sink in. Centuries ago, we fought to protect this galaxy. We bled for worlds that were not our own. When the flames grew too high, we vanished. Not defeated, but waiting. In every council chamber, in every command ship, silence fell. Even the most powerful admiral sat frozen, listening. We heard a call for help, from the world called Virelia. We answered. And we remember who stood by, and who turned away. The council trembles. In the Grand Council Hall, panic rippled through the delegates. "Turn it off," one shouted. "Trace the source," cried another. But the broadcast didn't stop. No matter how many channels they shut down, the message found another way in. It was like the humans were speaking directly to every ship, every mind, every machine. To those who prey upon the weak, your age is ending. To those who stood idle while innocence burned, we have not forgotten. We are deathworlders. We endure. The final line struck like thunder. Every species knew the meaning of that word, deathworlder. It didn't just mean human. It meant unstoppable. Ilaren's realization. On Varelia, Ilaren Voss stood on the balcony of her capital tower, watching the night sky. The message echoed from every speaker, every console. Her people were terrified, but she wasn't. "They kept their promise," she whispered. Her aide turned to her wide-eyed. "What do we do now, High Chancellor?" Ilaren smiled faintly, tears glinting in her eyes. "We rebuild, and we remember who our true allies are." Far above, a black shape glided past the upper atmosphere. No lights, no sound. Only a faint red glow along its hull, like an eye watching from the dark. The war machine awakens. Inside the ISS Resolute, the AI fleet's central core pulsed with power. Thousands of warships answered its call. Each one carried the emblems of a world long gone: Mars, Luna, Europa, Titan. Fleet status: active. Directive 2, begin patrol of border systems. Directive 3, neutralize hostile fleets. The human AI paused again, scanning the galaxy map. Countless red dots marked pirate empires, slaver groups, and old enemies of Earth. Its mechanical voice whispered through the fleet. "You have forgotten the Deathworlders. We will remind you." Engines roared to life. The darkness around Sol burned bright again. The first retaliation in the Outer Rim. The pirate warlord Tazrek the Maw commanded over 50 ships. He laughed when he heard rumors of ghost humans. "Stories," he growled. "Fairy tales for weak species." But as his fleet approached an abandoned mining moon, his laughter stopped. Sensors screamed. 50 unknown signatures appeared on radar. Fast, silent, closing in. "Identify," Tazrek roared. No response. Only static. Then, one by one, his ship's engines went dark. His screens flickered, showing glimpses of sleek black ships surrounding them. Each had red-lit hulls moving like predators. "This is Tazrek of the Blood Armada," he shouted into the comms. "Who dares?" A voice cut him off. Cold, human. "We do not negotiate with predators." Then everything went white. When the light faded, nothing remained. Not even debris. The galaxy reacts. The destruction of Tazrek's armada spread like wildfire. Every power in the galaxy began to arm themselves. Some tried to contact the Deathworlders, begging for peace. Others swore to resist, but deep down they all knew the truth. You don't bargain with Deathworlders. You survive if they let you. The return of Sol in the black heart of space, the Earth AI gazed upon the reborn fleet. One by one, human warships took formation, silent and perfect. And in the distance, orbiting a ruined blue planet, a signal beacon lit for the first time in centuries. Earth status: rebooting. The galaxy watched, horrified and fascinated, as the dead world began to glow again. The Deathworlders had returned, and they were just getting started. The galaxy was no longer at peace. It wasn't at war either. It was holding its breath. The message from Sol had shaken every world, and now, the first human fleets were moving, silent, coordinated, like predators returning to familiar hunting grounds. No one knew who they would strike first, until the skies over Velkari's prime burned red. The slaver lords for centuries, the Velkari's dominion had thrived on cruelty. They raided weaker worlds, captured species, and sold them across the stars. Their markets were filled with cages, not trade. They called themselves the Masters of Flesh. Their ruler, Lord Koresh, was in the middle of an auction when the alarms began to scream. "Unknown fleet entering orbit," shouted one of his guards. "How many ships?" Koresh demanded. "We can't count. They're everywhere," Koresh sneered, confident. "Fools. No one dares attack the Dominion." But when he looked out the grand window, his smile vanished. Above Velkari's prime, hundreds of black warships filled the sky, moving without light or sound. Their hulls shimmered like liquid shadow, and on every ship one word glowed faintly in red: humanity. The storm begins. The Deathworlder fleet didn't send a warning. They didn't broadcast demands. They just acted. Blue plasma defenses lit up the sky, but every blast missed. Human ships weaved through fire like they'd fought this battle 1,000 times before. Velkari's cannons fired again, and again, until their cores overheated and exploded. Then came the counterstrike. Not a single nuke, not a superweapon, just precision. Human railguns fired once per target. One hit, one kill. Within minutes, the Dominion's orbital defenses were gone. The Deathworlders hadn't even taken a hit. Groundfall: when the first human drop pods landed, the sky turned white with fire. Metal spheres slammed into the slaver capital, breaking through shields like paper. Out of the smoke marched soldiers, tall, armored in black exosuits that hummed with energy. Their visors glowed red in the haze. They moved with perfect discipline, silent, unstoppable. One raised his weapon toward the slaver guards and spoke through an amplifier. "Lay down your arms." "Slavery is over." Koresh laughed from his balcony. "You think I'll bow to ghosts?" He fired his plasma rifle, but the human soldier didn't even flinch. The blast struck his chest armor, scattering harmlessly. The soldier looked up, eyes glowing crimson beneath his visor. "Then you die a relic of your own cruelty." He raised his Gauss weapon, and the balcony vanished in a thunderous flash. Across the galaxy, the fall of Velkaris Prime was only the beginning. In the weeks that followed, 3 more slaver worlds burned. Their fleets were destroyed, their leaders vanished, their slaves freed. But the Deathworlders didn't conquer. They didn't occupy. They simply left, leaving behind silence, ashes, and freedom. Every liberated world received the same transmission afterward. You are free. Rebuild. Do not follow our path. Survive. To many, it sounded like mercy. To others, a warning. The divided galaxy in the council chambers, panic turned to argument. "They're a threat to all of us," shouted Admiral Rintal. "No," countered Counselor Devarin. "They're cleansing the monsters we allowed to exist." "You don't understand," Rintal hissed. "If they can wipe out empires this easily, what happens when they look at us next?" The speaker rose slowly, voice trembling. "We created this fear. We built our peace on the bones of the strong. Now the ghosts have returned to collect their debt." The room fell silent. No one argued again. A choice for the galaxy across space. Civilizations began to choose sides. Some pledged loyalty to the Deathworlders, hoping to avoid their wrath. Others prepared for war, gathering fleets and weapons, whispering of an alliance against Sol. But even the bravest knew, no alliance had ever defeated humanity for long. The Deathworlders' silence back in the Sol system, the AI known as Resolute, reviewed the data of the recent strikes. Each target had been carefully chosen. Only the cruel, the corrupt, the enslavers. "Progress report," a machine voice asked. "Phase 1 complete," replied the Resolute. "Awaiting Directive 4. A moment of silence. Then faintly, from deep within the AI's ancient core, a human voice recorded long ago spoke. "We are the guardians of the living, not their rulers." And the AI obeyed. The light of hope on Virelia, Ilaran watched as a Deathworlder relief ship descended from orbit. This time not in war, but in peace. It carried supplies, medicine, and engineers. No soldiers, no weapons. Children ran to see the black giants walk among them, unmasked, unarmed, quiet. One human turned to Ilaran and spoke through his helmet speaker. "The galaxy remembers our rage, but it will also remember our mercy." Ilaran bowed her head. "And we will remember you." For centuries, Earth had been a ghost. A memory whispered across the galaxy. Destroyed, forgotten, erased, but now, it was awakening. Sol ignites in the void of the Sol system, orbiting a dim and lifeless sun, human warships aligned. Thousands of black vessels, red lights glowing like embers, moved with perfect precision. At the center of the fleet floated Earth itself, rebuilt, rising from ruin. Terraforming engines hummed, atmosphere restored, oceans reformed, forests bloomed under artificial suns, a planet once dead, now alive again. Inside the flagship Resolute, the AI core projected a hologram of the Earth that was cities burning, Fleets falling, humanity scattered. And then it projected the Earth that would be strong, united, ready. Directive 5. Full planetary restoration complete. Humanity reborn. A message across the stars, the broadcast went out instantly, reaching every world in the galaxy. This is Earth. Humanity has returned. We have risen from the ashes of our own extinction. We have defended the innocent. We have judged the cruel, and now we stand ready to protect or to punish. No council could stop it. No fleet could challenge it. The galaxy listened, in awe, in fear, and in hope. We are the Deathworlders. We remember all, and we are back. The leaders of the galaxy across every empire, every council, every stronghold, leaders faced the same realization. The humans were not myths. They were not a threat to bargain with. They were an unstoppable force, and they had returned not for revenge but for justice. Some fell to their knees. Others trembled with fear. A few, rare and brave, prepared for alliance. Virelia's rebirth on. Virelia, Ilaran Voss watched as black ships descended, this time not in war, but in guidance. Engineers and soldiers worked side by side with the Virelians. Rubble became homes. Fires became farms. The planet healed faster than anyone thought possible. A human officer approached Ilaran, helmet removed, face kind but stern. Your call for help was heard, he said. We are here to keep it safe, and the galaxy will see the same mercy, if they deserve it. Ilaran bowed her head. Thank you. For everything. The human soldier simply nodded and returned to his ship, silent, patient, waiting for the next world in need. The galactic balance, the council, once proud and untouchable, now knew their place had shifted. Pirate fleets had vanished. Slaver worlds were destroyed or freed. And the whispers of rebellion across the galaxy now spoke the same words. Humanity is back, and they are not the same as before. Even those who feared humanity the most couldn't deny a strange awe. The Deathworlders had returned, but they were not conquerors. They were protectors, yet everyone understood the unspoken rule. Cross them. And there is no mercy. A new era from Sol to Virelia, from frontier worlds to council chambers, the galaxy began to change. Old alliances broke. New ones formed. Every civilization recalculated its place in the universe. And at the heart of it all, Earth shone like a beacon, alive, powerful, and unyielding. The Deathworlders had returned not just to save, but to ensure the galaxy would never forget. Humanity endures, humanity protects, humanity rises, stronger than death itself. The final word far in the void, the Valkyrie and its fleet watched silently. Engines idling, weapons ready, sensors alive. And from the flagship a single AI voice whispered, "We are the Deathworlders.
We have returned.
And this galaxy will remember our name." Above Earth, a red sunbeam reflected off black hulls of ships forming a silent circle. A promise. A warning, a new beginning. The galaxy had survived centuries without humans. It would not survive the next era without respecting them. The return of Earth had begun.